Hello folks, Phil Gallagher of ThrabenU here for another Legacy video. Today we are going to be playing with Nic Fit, and this video is sponsored by Top Deck. We'll take a look at them after round 1. So the general idea with the Nic Fit strategy, in case you haven't seen it before, is that we are kind of a rock-style ramp deck. What we are looking to do is sacrifice a veteran explorer and use that to put a couple of extra basic lands into play. Many legacy decks don't have basic lands, so when you sacrifice a veteran explorer, it is oftentimes one-sided ramp. And the goal is to be the bigger deck. If you and your opponent both have 5 lands in play, but you're casting 5 drops and they're casting 1 drops, your card quality is probably going to be higher, and your big fat dumb green creature is going to beat their Delver. That's kind of the conceptual idea behind this deck list. With this version specifically, we've got a decent amount of spice. We have 2 cards with Magecraft, and the Magecraft cards do something special when you cast or copy an instant or sorcery card. Witherbloom Apprentice drains for 1, and Sedgemoor Witch makes a 1/1 creature token that when it dies, you gain a life. So, if you cast a Chain of Smog targeting yourself, you can make yourself discard 2 cards and then copy the spell repeatedly. Meaning, with Witherbloom Apprentice, it's an instant kill, or with Sedgemoor Witch, you get infinite creatures. In addition to that, we just have a decent mid-range game, with powerful cards like Opposition Agent and Endurance. Also, guess what's a combo? Having an Opposition Agent in play and sacrificing a Veteran Explorer. That's chef's kiss levels of good. And we also have a couple of Planeswalkers here. The Grist notably counts as a creature, even when it's in other zones, so that is a Green Sun Zenithable Planeswalker. And we have 2 Planeswalkers that I've never played with before. The first is Ob Nixilis, the Adversary. And it's -7, has target player draw 7 cards and lose 7 life, which can often just be pointed at your opponent as a death laser. But really the important thing about this Planeswalker is actually its casualty ability. So, when you cast this card, you can sacrifice a creature, and if you do, you copy this spell, and the copy enters with loyalty equal to the power of the creature that you sacrificed. So, this is a way that you can sacrifice your Veteran Explorer while getting a copy of a Planeswalker that is not legendary. So this is potentially a turn 3 double Planeswalker situation that also ramps you into being able to cast another spell. All in all, that's really cool. And we also have Vivien Monster's Advocate, which lets you cast creature spells from the top of your library. We've got 21 of those, that's kind of cool. And it can also create some tokens with various annoying abilities here. So one thing that's really interesting to me about this deck list, and I believe this was a 5/0 deck list, is that there aren't abrupt decays in here. This deck is just saying nah, man, we don't need removal. We don't need removal where we're going. We're just going to play the better cards. Which is relatively surprising to me because Nic Fit is often known for having main deck Pernicious Deeds that can wipe the board, or abrupt decays, assassin trophies, things like that. And this deck is just not playing that game. We can't really remove creatures in a normal fashion. So I am intrigued and slightly scared to see how that goes. As far as the sideboard goes, we have some absolute bangers, like Paradox Zone, which can, let's pop that out a little more, like Paradox Zone, which can create increasingly large tokens. We have an awful hexproof card that also regenerates. That's very hard to kill, although it probably does just get blocked by Murktide Regent, so and other powerful cards like Collector Oof and Pernicious Deed, which will just be fantastic versus decks like Elves and Death and Taxes that are looking to kind of go wide of traditional strategies. I think with that said, let's just go ahead and jump right into the league. If you're new here and you enjoy the content, please consider subscribing. And if you're a regular, please throw me a like before the video begins. That's the easiest way to support my content for free. If you end up wanting to try out this deck list or get one of your own decks on the channel, that information is available in the video description. Let's battle. All right. Round one opening hand has 3 lands, but like lands air quote because the Dryad Arbor is very likely to die. I have 3/3 drops as my only plays here. I'm not really counting Cabal Therapy as a cohesive play. It's very hard to just hit blind on turn 1 on the play. I think I'm just going to mulligan this hand. Oh no! I have no black mana and 3 black cards in hand. 5? I can put back Dryad Arbor, Green Sun, hope to spike a black land. I think I'd rather 5. Okay. This is a reasonable 5-card hand. Deadly Brew. Each player sacrifices a creature or planeswalker. Yeah, I don't think I'm ready for that right now. I don't think I want the Cabal Therapy. I don't think I want to play the guessing game when I'm already down 2 cards. Chancellor of the Annex, huh? I don't like what I'm about to do here. I am going to go ahead and cast this Green Sun and just let it get countered so that I can have Endurance available for if my opponent just goes like Dark Ritual, Entomb, Reanimate. I have Leylines. I have Leylines and potentially Mindbreak Trap for the post-sideboard games. All right, Chancellor goes under there. Ender Wall. Okay, are we belching? We're not reanimating, we're belching? That's notably worse for me. Absolutely would not have hit with my blind Cabal Therapy on Brainstorm. Burning Wish happens. Or Galvanic Relay. Absolutely. Okay. All right. There's an Echo for next turn. All right. So, things are a wee bit scary over here. It's not necessarily just death here, I don't think. There's a new Tinderwall. Opponent has 2 3 mana. Rite of Flame, 4 5 mana. There's a Gamble. Opponent has 1 card in hand. They are presumably gambling for LED so that they can Echo. Okay, that was an Empty the Warrens. There is an LED. Actually, I guess that costs a lot of mana, huh? Because this is in exile, not in hand. They might have another just Burning Wish based line. Alright, there's the blue mana. There is the Echo. So, do I want these cards back in my opponent's deck? Probably want to send that Empty the Warrens into exile. That seems fine to me. Alright. Or actually, this isn't to exile. Just going back into deck. This just eliminates a Witherbloom Apprentice from my deck. Yeah, sorry. Just brain farted there. Alright. I'll take some new cards. I've eliminated a Witherbloom Apprentice from my deck. My hand is very mediocre now. I think I'm probably dead to that Burning Wish. My Mindbreak Traps are going to be really good if my opponent is trying to Echo. So, like, there's that. Yeah, there's Burning Wish. Assume that cracks for black, and this is just Tendrils. And that would have been lethal even if I did not cast my Endurance. I will concede. Alright. Let's board in the Unfair Hate. I can get a lot of it. All this stuff. Pernicious Deed can wipe artifact mana, but I don't know that that's actually good. Basically, I think most of my slower win conditions can go. I probably don't need Deadly Brew. Let's assume Deadly Brew goes out. Like, I could just beat my opponent to death with, like, endurance-sized things if I stop what they're doing. I think I'm probably going to get rid of, like, most of this stuff. I want to board in roughly 10 cards, so, like, I still have a decent amount of cuts to make from here. Grist doesn't seem that good. So that can probably go. Eternal Witness seems medium. It's just very slow. Ob Nixilis, how do I feel about that? The +1 for deal 2 damage sometimes is going to be more like +1 for 4 damage because I make 2 of them after sacrificing a Veteran Explorer. Probably okay. Let's get rid of Eternal Witness. Eternal Witness for, like, returning a Mindbreak Trap is super cute, but Don't know that that's necessary. And then do I just go with, like, Sedgemoor Witch out? That seems reasonable. I've got a decent amount of interaction here. Do I keep it? I do not have black mana. I have a Leyline of the Void and a Mindbreak Trap. I have pseudo green mana in the form of Cavern of Souls. I have 20 lands remaining in deck. Also, kind of Endurance as free interaction. Keep? That's a weird one. I probably have to lead on Mountain on turn 1 rather than Cavern of Souls. Cavern goes on human a huge portion of the time, because, like, Veteran Explorer and Witherbloom Apprentice and Opposition Agent are all humans, but, like, there's worlds where I have to use it to cast an Endurance so that I have a clock. Alright, so let's start there. Lead on Mountain and pass. This is a little awkward, but I don't think I'm in immediate danger if I miss a land drop in a lot of cases. Alright, LED from Mox. So Mindbreak Trap is now live whenever I want it to be. Okay, sure. Interwall's fine. I'm going for some sort of tutor effect as the thing that I hit. Alright. Ask for 0. 1, 2, 3, 4. Goodbye. Opponent has 0 cards left. I will name Human with this, I believe. Even though I do have Endurance in hand. I believe drawing a green source and putting a Collector Oof in play instantly ends this game. Alright. That's their turn. We're gonna awkwardly stare at each other for a few turns, though. That's fine. I think the awkward staring contest favors me, since I have, like, some things shut off here. Alright. This, I think, is the game. This will be Collector Oof. And that's a pretty hard stop. And then I just get to follow this up with Ob Nixilis as, like, a thing that is going to bully my opponent's life total. Yeah, okay, that's a fair concession point. I do not think I will make any changes on the draw here. I'm somewhat tempted to play Pernicious Deed to sweep 0-cost artifacts, but pretty happy with the cards that are in my main deck. Leyline, Mindbreak Trap, and Veil of Summer, and Cabal Therapy? Absolutely. Alright, opponent has a Chancellor of the Annex. So if they can go off on turn 1, like, they beat my Mindbreak Trap. They have to go off on turn 1 without using their graveyard. Holy shit. I think I want multiple Mindbreak Traps available. I think that means playing and getting a Cabal Therapy countered. Yeah, I'm fine with that. I can get a Bayou here. And I'll Cabal Therapy. Targeting them. Let that get countered. And move on with life. The big thing that can beat me is my opponent, like, fully playing around Mindbreak Trap. Okay, cool. So this will be Veteran Explorer, Ball Therapy, target you, sacrificing my Veteran Explorer. Use this ability. I don't have red mana yet, so I'll grab one of those. And I don't have the ability to cast a green. Oh, no, I do have green. I guess I don't have black yet. I want another green source this turn, though. And I believe I will be naming Goblin Charbelcher. That's one of the things that's very likely to be able to beat my Mindbreak Traps. Charbelcher. Hit. Play a new Veteran Explorer. Got Mindbreak Trap, Veil of Summer, and Leyline is shutting off Echo. I'm not going to say this game is over, but I am incredibly favored at this point. Nice. That's very good as well. So let's crash in for 1 point of damage. That drops opponent to 19. And I will cast with Casualty here, sacrificing a Veteran Explorer, which in turn allows me to go and get 2 more lands. My opponent has already kind of proved that they don't have those lands, and now I get to just do this thing. So my opponent can either discard a card or lose 2 life. Alright, and we'll activate again. Plussing. Alright, there we go. Good stuff. So I have Veil of Summer up and double Mindbreak Trap, as well as double Ob Nixilis Plussing. Absolutely. Plus, opponent goes to 13. Plus, opponent goes to 11. I'm not sure, but I kind of think that they should be just discarding some of these dead cards. Could be wrong, though. Witherbloom's Apprentice also, like, is not irrelevant. Oh, cool. Cabal Therapy is great. I'll attack for 2. We'll put opponent to 9. I will Cabal Therapy, targeting them, which does drain 1. Alright, they're done with me. So talking about one of the cool things that I could have done here, I could have, like, Cabal Therapy them, name LED. If they have something else threatening they have to take, I minus, make a devil, and then Cabal Therapy them again. This deck's cool. This video is sponsored by TopDeck, which is a companion app / website for Magic the Gathering. They've got a little bit of everything here, including a news feed that aggregates stuff from major websites like Star City Games, Channel Fireball, and Card Kingdom. So if you're tired of flipping around looking for where you saw that article, consider checking out TopDeck. All right, back to the show. Okay, I've kept my round 2 opening hand. I've got a pair of Veteran Explorers that I can sacrifice via Ob Nixilis, as well as a Sedgemoor Witch as follow-up. Are we playing against elves? Reclamation Sage. No, we are playing against Post. Okay. Green Post specifically, I suppose. Since I have multiple Veteran Explorers, I think I'm going to go ahead and go for dual lands here. Oh, do I not have a red dual land in this list? Fuck me. This hand is not nearly as good as I thought it was. Wow. Okay. Information internalized. So I might need to both Sage you and blow up a Cloud Post at some point this game. Oh no, did you really? There's no way, right? There's no way you keep a Once Upon a Time. Yeah, okay. That's fine. Does Boseiju make the land enter tapped or just enter? Enter. Opponent has said Nic Fit! Indeed. Alright. I think I'm going to Boseiju my opponent this turn. I probably do this in my opponent's upkeep. Let's bash in for my little chip damage here. It's sort of unfortunate because this Boseiju does serve as color fixing for my opponent, but it does take them off of that like the larger amounts of colorless mana. So like it's a give and take situation rather than rather than being all upside. This is going to be an Elvish Reclaimer so that my opponent can tutor up more Cloud Posts. Now things get a little weird. A lot weird. Okay. Fetch a Bayou. Want to keep all the basics in the deck for what's about to happen here. I think I go ahead and play a Grist, sacrifice a Veteran Explorer, use that to destroy Elvish Reclaimer, use Veteran Explorer's ability, get Forest and Swamp. I am ramping the ramp deck. Don't worry about it. It'll probably be fine. I will Cabal Therapy, targeting my opponent, taking their known Reclamation Sage. All right. And then I'll get to see the rest of their hand. Fantastic. Rec Sage goes bye-bye. Play Veteran Explorer. We're going to name Ulamog the Ceaseless Hunger with the flashback here. Sacking Veteran Explorer. Yeah, you can absolutely cast that Endurance. That's fine. Now I'll use this ability to get my red mana. And grab one more land of some kind. Alright. And we'll name Ulamog the Ceaseless Hunger. Alright. Goodbye, Ulamog. The opponent gets to attack and kill my Grist, and I've kind of ramped opponent, but I think I end up in the better spot here. We'll see. Oh, fuck me. What a top deck. Oh my gosh. Opponent has exactly 7 lands to go and search up a new Eldrazi. My day is ruined. You are not exactly going to do what I want. I think I am just going to play out 2 Sedgemoor Witches this turn and hope to do something cool with them next turn. Gosh, that Eye of Ugin, though. Holy shit. That just, like, undid my extremely ridiculous turn cycle. I was so proud of what I was doing, and then everything came crashing down. Alright. It's fine. Fine. Another Sedgemoor Witch. Annihilator 4. That's bad. And make a 2 Ob Nixilises. I think I have to play towards a Chain of Smog infinite creatures situation. So let's do this. I think I will cast this with Casualty still. Sacrificing the new one of these. Get 2 copies of this. And just, immediately use these to make devils. And then I kind of end up with the largest possible number of permanents. Game got wild. Opponent was colorless Cloud Post? No problems. Opponent has 6 forests. Makes life harder. Alright, where is Kozilek going? I am being attacked by Kozilek. I think I'll take 12 damage this turn. I don't know, maybe I just block. Like, sacrifice. Devil. A witch. Land. Land? Deal 1 damage to my opponent there. Alright. I'll soak up 12 life. Alright. Maybe I'm supposed to keep 2 Sedgemoor Witches, because that allows me to just, like, play cantrips and better protect myself from Kozilek's Annihilator 4. Alright, that is a very large green sun, which probably gets Primeval Titan. It does. Alright. A lot of Cloud Post. On my opponent's next turn, they can probably produce an Emrakul. So I think I have to top deck one of my 3 copies of Chain of Smog. We'll see how that goes. No. No, stop. I have a family. That's so much life. You're 1 turn cycle too late, bud. That was so close to being insane. I guess I'm not technically dead next turn, technically, but feel pretty dead. Alright, I got the Glacial Chasm out of their hand. Got a Bojuka Bog out of their hand. I think I just have to main phase this. But unfortunately, like, telegraphs that it's there, so opponent won't activate Eye of Ugin. But I think my opponent just gets to, like, turn all their creatures sideways, and I have to respond anyway. And I don't want them to activate Eye of Ugin with my big ol' idiot on the stack. Alright, I'm being attacked by all of that. The opponent is choosing not to search. I'll sacrifice 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 12, 15. I have to block this. I guess I see if my opponent has Emrakul in their deck, right? Yeah, so that puts me to 3, and then I think my opponent just tutors up Emrakul and I die. Well, damn. I was doing the thing. My opponent did the thing harder. I will absolutely concede. Hats off to you. So sort of in bad news, I don't really have stuff for this matchup. Like, Pernicious Deed isn't good at sweeping Giant Eldrazi off the battlefield. It can get some stuff like Expedition Map or Elvish Reclaimers that are played out. I don't know that that's actually great. I'm gonna board down like an Endurance or something and put this Paradox Zone in there as another finisher. And then call it good. There's a world where I'm supposed to play Pernicious Deed, because if I get to mana levels like I did that game, they can technically blow up Eldrazi. But I don't think I actually like that. This is a reasonable mix of lands and spells that I don't know wins the matchup. This is turn 2 Boseiju, a Cloud Post. Turn 3 Witch, followed by Marin. I don't know that I'm doing my own thing strong enough there for that to be good. I like this one better. This one, while it doesn't have interaction, it does have the possibility of killing a turn 1 Elvish Reclaimer, or otherwise top decking a Chain of Smog for a win. So I think I'm good with that. I'm just going to fetch a 4. I guess it can be a Bayou just fine. Actually, if I don't have... There's some world where I get wastelanded. I'll just grab a forest. It's fine. And then I'll just let that resolve. And we'll go on with our lives. All right. Let's just edict that. You can sacrifice your Reclaimer. And then I can work on winning with an Ob Nixilis or going the Witherbloom Apprentice route. I could play Witherbloom Apprentice into double Ob Nixilis. I'm not sure how good that is. Multiple expedition maps. I think I'm okay with not using my mana efficiently to give myself a potential win next turn if I top deck Chain of Smog. So I have time right now. I'm not going to have time forever. Like, I probably have 2 more turns before shit gets super real. Alright. Turn creature sideways. Opponent goes to 18. I will play this with casualty, sacrificing this, and create 2 copies of Ob Nixilis. Let's start this pain train. Alright. They've discarded a Glacial Chasm, and then just taken 2. I have a win in 2 turns if I do set up Witherbloom Apprentice Chain of Smog still. I don't have the 4th land to just take care of everything immediately in the fastest possible fashion. All right. I'm scared next turn. I'm not super scared this turn. Next turn's pretty rough. I also think my opponent should have cracked already to play around me having opposition agent, because that would be absolutely disgusting if I did. All right. I have hit my opponent for a good amount of damage. I can top deck a win, but my opponent is at the point where like they can search up the 2nd green source, play a Primeval Titan, and then like Eldrazi are coming. They can also just get a Cloud Post with one of these and potentially cast an Eldrazi next turn. So like that is a thing as well. Yeah, so they're getting Yavimaya so that all of their Glimmer Posts and such can produce green mana. And then a Karakas. Okay. Karakas is interesting. That makes me think that they have like an Ugin in hand that they want to bounce. All right, what are we looking at? Is this a Green Sun? Okay, it is just a straight Primeval Titan. Getting double Glimmer Post. No big deal. No big deal. Chain of Smog, please. Okay, that's sort of interesting. So let's minus one of these to create a token. Play a Deadly Brew. I'll yield to that trigger. I can sacrifice this devil that I just made. I'll return a Verdant Catacombs with that. Then ping my opponent for 1. Play Verdant. Plus with this other Ob Nixilis, working on getting this one towards 7. And crash in for 2. My opponent intentionally did not like go and grab an Eye of Ugin. So that makes me think they have another threat already. Okay, is this the Olamug? Oh god, it's just fucking Emrakul. Yeah. That's fine. What's Annihilator 6 and some extra turns between friends? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah. Yeah, so they have Olamog, or sorry, they have Emrakul plus Karakas for infinite turns at that point. GG's. Alright. I have kept my opening hand for this round here. We have Veteran Explorer into Deadly Brew. Let's see what we're facing down on the other side of the battlefield. Elves? It could be the same deck as last round again. Let's... It's elves, I'm safe to fetch Bayou. It's not guaranteed elves. There are other decks like Green-White Reclaimer, so I think I'm just going to go ahead and grab a forest here. I'm fine getting a non-basic next turn when I can go ahead and, like, otherwise give myself a boost of mana via Veteran Explorer. So, like, one of the reasons we lost last round, just to talk about this, is conceptually Nic Fit is trying to be the deck that goes bigger. And while my deck goes up to like 5 or 6 mana, my opponent's deck goes up to 15 mana. So, like, they made better use of the mana than I did. Hey! We played around a thing successfully. I do have to get a wastelandable land this turn, unfortunately. If I want the black mana, which I do. So let's go ahead and Deadly Brew here. And my opponent can, like, do something like sacrifice their wasteland in order to tutor up a different land with Elvish Reclaimer. And note, we're not making the cheeky Veteran Explorer attack because I very much want to sacrifice Veteran Explorer to this spell so that I can return another land to hand. Okay. Are we seeing the Elvish Reclaimer activation? We are. No, we're seeing a crop rotation first. Okay, getting a flagstones, sure. So then you can sacrifice the flagstones to Elvish Reclaimer to ramp. Very cute. So there's a Savannah into a Dark Depths. I'll return a fetch land to hand. I'll grab one that can get a swamp. So I guess that matters less here if I get a swamp off of this, which I probably am. Get swamp. I can fetch mountain later. And I guess a forest. My opponent might get 2 lands here. Nope, it looks like they are getting 1. I've already played a land drop. I have a Boseiju open for if I need to destroy Dark Depths in response to my opponent making a thing. Crop Rot? Sylvan Safekeeper. That's fine, because that just targets creatures. It's good. Alright, I just have to hold up Boseiju. Okay, so there's the thing. I can go ahead and let this first ability resolve. And then Boseiju this land with no counters on it. So that I kind of get 2 lands with my Boseiju. Alright, so you've got a Savannah up for this turn cycle now. I've got an Endurance. That's a totally reasonable card. It might just be better to play Grist. Use Grist to attempt to kill Sylvan Safekeeper next turn. I think I like that. And I'm going to fetch my mountain out here so that I don't accidentally mill over it with Grist, which would be a little annoying. Alright, milled over a planeswalker, no big deal with that. I have Pitchcast and Endurance if necessary to stop like a Life from the Loam. Feels like a green sun for Knight of the Reliquary. It is, sure. Okay. My situation's pretty good here. I can play double Endurance in this turn cycle. Let's attempt to kill a Sylvan Safekeeper. I do not believe that this works. I will see. Attempt to kill it. Yeah, and my opponent is junking their Dryad Arbor to keep that thing around, which makes sense to me. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and pass the turn here with double Endurance up. And the cool thing is that my opponent might end up attacking with their Knight of the Reliquary to kill this Grist. At which point, I get a savage blowout. Okay, the land drops are fine. Ooh, no attacks. Okay, sure. I think to use my mana, I will go ahead and cast one of these. I will not cast the second. I'll go ahead and throw those lands back in your deck to shrink the Knight. Do I try to kill Knight and just destroy another one of my opponent's lands? I don't know that that's worth my Grist. I think I just wait a turn. Let's plus. Okay, cool. I'll go ahead and plus playing a Sedgemoor Witch out and call it a turn. I get a few turns to draw an answer to a Merit Lodge. Ooh. Sedgemoor Witch gains me 3 life, which unfortunately does not put me above 20 here. And then my opponent will go ahead and do their tutoring. Maze of Ith. Okay. The opponent is going to attempt to like play sword and shield with Knight of the Reliquary. That's reasonable. Red mana. They might have prismatic ending. Ooh, that's pro-green. So that gets to attempt to kill my Grist. I say attempt because I'm going to try to stop that and probably destroy one of my opponent's lands in process. Play the second Endurance. Take those lands out of my opponent's graveyard. And my opponent can waste land or sacrifice something to Sylvan Safekeeper in order to actually kill my Grist. See if they want to do that. They do. That's fine. Like they can only activate Sylvan Safekeeper so many times. I am going to 100% just thin a land out of my deck here. I need to draw live. I am actively scared of what my opponent is capable of. I'll leave the other basic in the deck in case I do some Veteran Explorer nonsense. Speaking of, I don't have reasonable attacks here. I'll just play out a Veteran Explorer. Man, the Sylvan Safekeeper really changed the texture of this game. So I am not immediately dead to a Merit Lodge. That's good news. I have 2 blockers for that, and my opponent has used this land already. Some of the versions of this deck do play a second version, so like that is something to be aware of. Alright, my opponent is making another Savannah, which is fine. Like, it's pretty free to do that. Alright. Opponent's ability to tutor lands is starting to get scary. Alright, and we're going to stare at each other. Opponent doesn't want to attack into this Veteran Explorer. What are we looking at, deck? Chain of Smog. Opponent took my Witch, so that's not great for me. That's not currently a top deck kill. So I'm chilling. I'll learn this turn whether or not my opponent has another copy of Sejiri Step. Because like they can make the Merit Lodge now, and if they can give pro green on their turn, I'm dead. The second copy is becoming more common, so like I would not be surprised to die here. Like it feels like opponent has it. That's 2 mana. That's a Reclaimer activation. Junking this land, or okay, they're junking the Maze instead. Sure. The Vesuva for it. Oh, beautiful. I'm going to let them attack here just to see if they would have attacked with the Knight of the Reliquary. I'm just kind of curious. The answer is no. I will die a noble death. Would I have top decked the win? Nope. 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 Okay. It would have been a while. Okay. I think I like Pernicious Deed as a way of sweeping Reclaimers and Knight of the Reliquaries and such. I think that's totally fine. Paradox Zone is slow, but like anything that can create something every single turn that chump blocks to that chump blocks the Knight of the Reliquary is probably reasonable. I don't think I want the Thrun. Like it's a 4/4, which is relevant versus Elvish Reclaimer's body, but I don't know. Like I'd prefer to get this by a lot, and Marin's already a 3/4 as well, although admittedly one that's Karakas-able. What don't I want? Cabal Therapy is medium, but like it still is a way to sacrifice Veteran Explorer. I probably have to keep it. I probably have to keep my entire Chain of Smog combo suite. Vivian makes a creature every single turn, and can make reach creatures, notably. My cards feel reasonable. Maybe Ob Nixilis isn't great here, because it has to minus to make chump blockers. Could also buy Eternal Witness being slow. That can give me the 3 Pernicious Deeds. Then I don't know for the last card. I don't know. Maybe Marin being Karakas-able when Thrun isn't is a big deal. I kind of want this Paradox Zone when I'm on the play. I don't know what should come out for it, though. 2 Pernicious Deeds on the play. And then I won't play Paradox Zone on the draw. Yes. Assuming I draw a land within 2 draw steps, this is a turn 3 goldfish. It doesn't technically kill, but it makes infinite creatures, which should be good enough. Alright. I'm going to get to eat my opponent's Dryad Arbor with a Deadly Brew. That's totally reasonable. Or, sorry, I think I said it's a turn 3 goldfish. That's not true. It's a turn 4 goldfish. Yeah. Deadly Brew, get rid of Dryad Arbor, just slow my opponent down. Okay, Wasteland. What are we looking at? Sylvan Library. Alright. Let's Cabal Therapy the opponent here. Feels like Knight of the Reliquary is a good name. Opponent has to have something in their hand that made this keepable, and Knight of the Reliquary would be one of those things. So, opponent has half a Merit Lodge already. I really hope they can't assemble the other half this turn. They might just lose for not hitting a land drop. Yeah, I am not surprised to see them drink deep from the well that is Sylvan Library. Fuck. Fuck! I'm dead. I'm absolutely dead. I drew my land, kind of. The opponent just gets to crop rotation, like say float a mana with Wasteland, crop rotation for Dark Depths, and kill me. Deadly Brew is not great. So the only way I can possibly win is opponent fucking up and not casting crop rotation right here. Please? Holy shit, I get to do it. Or they just have a second crop rotation. Or no, that doesn't matter. Huh, okay. Well, Dark Depths in hand. So, once again, I require my opponent to mess up. I'm going to cast a Chain of Smog targeting them so that they discard 2 cards. If they redirect this at me, I can then make them discard the Dark Depths that they are going to keep in hand. Will you copy it? Okay. They will not copy it. All right. Good. So next, I need my opponent to sorcery speed make Merit Lodge so that I can hit it with Deadly Brew. Never mind the fact that the Sylvan Library also can allow them to just like gain a bunch of cards back. Make it. Make it. Fuck. Please. I need this. I need this so badly. Yes! Yes! Oh, this is so good for me. I guess there's no reason not to play my land drop first. Alright, then Sorcery Speed Edict. Opponent was playing around Boseiju, just in case you were wondering what their rationale for doing it at Sorcery Speed was. Alright. We have won the battle. The war itself is still in dubious state, but I have lived to tell the tale. Alright, opponent's not going any deeper with Sylvan Library. Okay. I have an air quotes win next turn. I think I need to grab basic forest here so they can play endurance around wasteland next turn if I draw that and for some reason need to do so. All right. No crop rotation, please. Okay. I have made it through yet another turn cycle. Fuck. So I can Chain of Smog and make infinite creatures here. I don't have a way to kill any of my own stuff. I am unfortunately dead to that Dark Depths. Unless they don't make it. So I need to go ahead and make an attack and then hold up both Seiju mana to represent that I have the kill. Damn it, I had infinite creatures! 5 mana. I need to make myself look as suspicious as possible. Opponent's just going to turn that sideways now. I'm not threatening lethal next turn since I had to hold up mana for my bluff. So I think right here, I'm going to fetch. I'm going to try to give my opponent just something to think about. But I think they turn this thing sideways every time. Yeah. Damn. We were so close. We had the thing to do the thing, but it wasn't good enough. So we're 1 and 2 now. All right. We have gotten played again. Played. We have gotten paired against a Kahira the Orphan Guard deck, which does not show up particularly often in Legacy. All right. There is a Yavimaya, which immediately kind of pushes me in the directions of like, ooh, oh, I know what this is. So this is Dinosaur Stompy, I believe. Yeah, this is going to be Dinosaur Stompy. The Dryad Arbor, oof. The Dryad Arbor innately being in my opening hand here is not great for me. The good news is that it will take my opponent a little while to get to a kill. The bad news is that unless I draw a Cavernous Souls, I'm not super well equipped to kind of cheat some things into play here. My Grain Sun also probably needs to be saved as a threat. Maybe a Grist. What I'm going to be looking for from that. So let's go ahead and play out a Witherbloom Apprentice. We will have Chain of Smog is a top deck that just kills my opponent. All right. I probably need to play Dryad Arbor this turn so I can Green Sun for Grist next turn. Kind of get that going. I think that's better than getting another Witherbloom Apprentice right now. Does mean that I waste 2 mana here, which is not fantastic. But I think for some of the worst case scenarios, I want to get Grist going. Because, like, my opponent has very big, very dumb things in their deck that I have to respect might come out. And just, like, getting chump blockers going feels important as well. Yeah, there's a Shadow Spear to attempt to give that construct trample. That's totally reasonable. I cannot cast that currently. 1, 2, 3, 4. X is currently 3. Done. Drain 1 off of that. Grab Grist. I think I have to Grist minus this turn since Swift Spear represents trample. I'll just sacrifice the Witherbloom Apprentice because I need the Dryad Arbor. And take out that construct token. So we're playing a real game of Magic now. My opponent can go fantastic. I cannot state how happy I am that I did not get wrecked there. Let's start with a plus and see what we mill, because if I mill a land, I might want to Eternal Witness that land back to hand. Otherwise, I probably just play Marin. All right. Yeah, let's just play the 4-drop. It doesn't do a ton right now. I don't have any experience counters yet. So the way this works is if its mana value is less than or no, this returns it to the hand regardless, doesn't it? Nice. Let's get Opposition Agent then. Oh, Endurance. Cool. Good value play for my opponent. That is a 4/5 Endurance, which is attacking Grist. I block with both my creatures. I can keep Grist alive. That doesn't seem great to me. I think I just have to let Grist go here. I can Eternal Witness it back to play. Chain of Smog. This just returns Grist, right? Grist counts as a creature in that zone? That's very dumb. Oddly, though, my only play this turn is Eternal Witness because Veteran Explorers are off and Chain of Smog doesn't seem like a reasonable thing to cast here. Alright. Do this thing. Return that creature. Probably just chump, air quotes, chump block with Eternal Witness. So that I can just return that and get that going with Marin. My opponent undoes all but one of the damage by attacking with Endurance, so it's kind of whatever. But I was going to chump block for an experience counter. It's probably fine to not. If we see a shifting Ceratops this turn. We do. This protection from blue, right? Yes. So let's go ahead and play this. Sacrifice a creature. I guess I'll sacrifice the Eternal Witness so that I can bring it back. Get an experience counter. destroy Shifting Ceratops. Oh, the experience counters go over here. Okay, cool. Yeah, and I'm just fine with crashing in with all of these. Maybe I am supposed to, like, leave this back jump block so that I can start a loop sooner. But it feels like I'm playing magic cards and my opponent isn't. My opponent didn't even attack the Grist there. Cool. Let's start with a plus. The Deadly Brew. Let's go land drop. 3, 4, 5. Play Vivian. Plus this. Vigilance counter sounds fine. That's all fine. My opponent has another Endurance. I don't want to attack with this insect token. But I would be fine with attacking with Marin. Yeah, it is indeed another Endurance. So my opponent will block and we'll just kind of bounce off each other. I'm fine with that. Yeah. That's a pretty good board state. That's just very obnoxious. By the way, wink wink, nudge nudge, would love to play the deck list my opponent is playing if someone wants to donate to make that happen. I have the deck list already. Don't you worry about that. Alright, some number of these cards are reasonable. So this is mostly going to be, like, what do I not want? And I think I want most of my cards. Like, most of my cards here seem like good cards. I'm looking to go bigger than my opponent, and my opponent is looking to go bigger than me. There's a couple of hexproof dinosaurs at around CMC 6 that are a little spooky, which is why I think Pernicious Deed just has to come in, and why Thrun is also reasonable. Opponent has some artifact-based acceleration, so Collector Oof is reasonable, but not insane. Opposition Agent is good against Urza's Saga, and is kind of nice with Veteran Explorer if I get both of those lined up at the same time. But I might just cut that. Like, on the draw, that seems a little tough to line up properly. So let's do those for deeds. Is Ob Nixilis just too hard to protect since my opponent has a bunch of big, dumb, tramply dinosaurs? I could buy that. Just, like, replace that with a Paradox Zone and a Thrun. And then it's just a question of, like, do I want Collector Oof? It's something that can just, like, sit on the battlefield and get swept up by my Pernicious Deed, but it also, like, stops Shadow Spear in particular, which is an annoying card for me that I'm otherwise not good at dealing with. I could probably go down 1 therapy pretty comfortably. Alright, this is a Marin hand, but it just kind of has nothing to do in the first few turns. This is a no mana hand. I will be going to 5. And this hand's mana is rough. Like, I have some of the worst lands as far as casting Pernicious Deed and Deadly Brew are concerned. I think I just have to deal with that and just kind of hope I draw out of it. I'm going to keep lands and removal here. And we'll see what happens. Grim Monolith. Scary magic card. Yeah. This Trinisphere is actually not that bad for me. This gives me time. Well, potentially gives me time to get to, like, Pernicious Deed and Deadly Brew. Alright. Cool. We're chilling. Maybe I'm supposed to play Caracas there. Because my opponent plays a legendary creature. But I'm not expecting them to play a legendary creature. I'm expecting them to play Shifting Ceratops. Yeah, there it is. At this point, I don't think I want to draw. Well, I'll wait. Alright. Cool. Let's go land drop. Has to fetch a Bayou. And then I get to Deadly Brew the Ceratops away. And kind of hope that my opponent doesn't have a follow-up threat. I can Pernicious Deed if I have to wipe the board, but I'm trying not to. A second Shifting Ceratops that gets haste gets kind of scary. Alice on 2. Well, that looks okay. I'm going to go ahead and just play out a Pernicious Deed and chill with it in play. Makes things pretty awkward for my opponent. I probably crack that and get rid of the Chalice on 2, honestly. Rather than take the land out of it. The land lets me play Vivian, but, like, I just have a combo kill in hand. Alright, pay Do that for X is 0. Destroy Chalice that way. And we'll see if my opponent has a play as well for the turn. 0 Powder, that's totally fine. Let's Witherbloom Apprentice. Then I get Chain of Smog kill next turn. Let's see if my opponent does something crazy. Like, they can play another Chalice on 2 to block my combo. Pithing Needle absolutely resolves. They've got a couple Planeswalkers that they can name. Okay, they did name the Planeswalker that I had 2 copies of. Unless my opponent has some sort of Warping Whale type card, or not Warping Whale, Spatial Contortion type card. They are dead here, as I just get to chain this until they die. All right, there is the match win. GG's. Opponent's deck is sweet, though. All right, final round opening hand. We're 2-2, so we're playing for a positive finish here. Hand is reasonable. I think I'm going to do one of the things you get to do when you're playing online, but not playing in paper, and Google my opponent, see if they have a history with a single deck. Yokel. Ad nauseum tendrils repeatedly. So, given that, I can fetch a Bayou safely. And I'm probably just going to name the card that I would have named blind anyway, which is just Brainstorm. Brainstorm is my go-to name with Cabal Therapy. Fuck yeah! Absolutely, let's go. So the reason I usually name Brainstorm blind with Cabal Therapy is because if your opponent is playing a blue deck, which is incredibly common and likely in this format, if you Cabal Therapy the first time and you don't take a Brainstorm and they have a Brainstorm, it makes it much harder to hit with the Cabal Therapy the second time. Part of me thinks that they have drawn another Brainstorm, so I don't want to play Witherbloom Apprentice and Cabal Therapy, target them this turn. I think I'm just going to play Opposition Agent next turn. I think I'm good with that. And I think I'm also good with picking up a Veteran Explorer here. Well, my opponent has a basic in hand and a basic in play. This is potentially just free ramp. Okay, I've changed my mind. Yeah, I had the correct read. I guess if this allows them to put their swamp in play, it's more awkward for me than I originally thought. Yes, I'll use this ability. I don't care about my red mana this game. I get Swamp Forest so I can play out Witherbloom Apprentice. Alright, so now this resolves. My opponent gets a shuffle off their Brainstorm. This is like a Cabal Ritual spot, maybe. I just name Infernal Tutor. Yeah, let's name Infernal Tutor. Second-guessed myself. Shouldn't have second-guessed myself. The good news is that my opponent, almost certainly cannot go off with the resources that are at their disposal there. Meaning that, if I can get them to Abrupt Decay a Witherbloom Apprentice, then my Opposition Agent takes over the game. Alternatively, if they don't fetch green mana, proactively, I can just Opposition Agent them in response to a fetch land and shut that off forever. I also just win if I top deck Chain of Smog, so there's that too. That is a shuffle. Alright, that's a Bayou. Okay, opponent Abrupt Decays immediately, which is not probably what they wanted to do. I'm going to go ahead and name Human with this and just sorcery speed this Opposition Agent. My opponent has 2 fetch lands, and I 100% want to cast this Opposition Agent in this turn cycle. I don't think I want to try to catch my opponent with their pants down. I think I want to make it so that they can't shuffle and get a land under any circumstances. They don't have access to red mana for Past in Flames currently. This is also Ad nauseum Tendrils Ant, so they're very reliant on Infernal Tutors. That's a shuffle. Looking at my opponent's list that they last 5-0'd with, they have 2 copies of Abrupt Decay. What a disgusting draw, just by the way. That's so disgustingly good with, my Grist that I have here. Alright. Attack. Bash in. Put my opponent to 17. Cabal Therapy. Target you. I'll name Tendrils here. Actually, I'll name Cabal Ritual here. Nice. Alright, so Cabal Ritual is gone. Now, 1, 2, 3. Play Grist. Plus for an insect token. Cabal Therapy, target you, sacrificing this. I'll just take the Infernal Tutor. I am more scared of my opponent removing opposition agent and turning Infernal Tutor into Past in Flames than I am of them casting a whole bunch of rituals and killing me with tendrils before I can kill them. Nice. That's just totally reasonable. I'll take my attack for 3. Get my opponent down. Plus make a token. And I will absolutely just treat this as a discard 2 spell. Alright, there go Polluted Delta and Tendrils. This black. That is black to activate, so I can't activate that now. What is Grist Ultimate at? 7? No. Each opponent loses life equal to the number of creature cards in your graveyard. That's only 2. Okay. Let's turn these creatures sideways for 4 points. Pull my opponent to 10. I think I will go ahead and Deadly Brew here. Sacrifice this creature. Return an Endurance. And I can go ahead and plus. And I'm holding up an Endurance to cast on my opponent's graveyard if things get weird somehow. Alright, so now I don't know what's in my opponent's hand. End of turn. 1, 2, 3. Endurance. I will go ahead and take out their graveyard. Okay, my opponent's done with me. I think it's awesome that we won that game because my sideboard cards are really good for this matchup. Like, I probably have about 10 cards that I'll bring in. And kind of similar to other rounds, I think I can cut most of the top end of this deck. Like, I can probably cut everything above CMC 3 without impacting my deck at all. I don't really need Deadly Brew either. This is still more cards that I want to bring in, though. I can probably cut the Ob Nixilis. Like, it's cool. I don't know that it's necessary. Like, it's either plus for discard a card or plus for ping 2. I can cut Eternal Witness for being slow. Yeah. Like, I'm looking for cuts, so I probably have to cut some number of these, because my other cards just have a greater impact on the game. If I cast a decently sized Green Sun, I'm getting Collector Oof. I can probably cut Grist. And then is it just both Ob Nixilis? I'm going to do a pass through and just make sure I don't like some of this other stuff better. Sedgemoor Witch and Ob Nixilis are probably similar power levels. Ob Nixilis is better in some cases. Sedgemoor Witch can go infinite. Sedgemoor Witch going infinite isn't super relevant. I think I'm going to keep the thing that can potentially make my opponent discard. A little awkward versus Infernal Tutor in some cases, that where like I force them to become Hellbent. This is going to be a keep. Opponent's going to 5. Oh. Okay. Well, I was going to be pretty favored with that hand, with like having a Leyline and a Veil of Summer. But opponent is done with my shit, and Nic Fit triumphs. We got the 3-2 with Nic Fit, which is like officially a trophy with Nic Fit. Like when you go to 60% with Nic Fit, that is absolutely feel good. Overall thoughts on the deck list. I had a blast playing this deck list. This deck list is really fun. It's somewhat competitive. You have a bunch of copies of things that line up well versus like Delvers and Dragon Rage Channelers. And Deadly Brew was way better than it looked. I was very impressed by this card. And like maybe I should have given this more credit in the intro as something that like counted as removal. Like in my mind, I was thinking like I've lost the ability to just kind of deal with generic permanents. But didn't matter too much in this league. I feel like some of the stuff is a little slow. Like Vivian, Elder Gargaloth, and Marin feel kind of slow to me. Like, as does Eternal Witness, but, like, that's probably just the name of the game here. I feel like I want one more Witherbloom Apprentice and to cut one Sedgemoor Witch in this deck list. I think I just want to be able to drain my opponent rather than make infinite creatures. Like, that difference of 1 turn matters a lot in a fast format like Legacy. I also probably want to get one dual land that has red mana in it, so that Verdant Catacombs and fetch to play Ob Nixilis. I was relatively impressed with Ob Nixilis, like enough that like I would want to experiment to see what else you can do with that card in Legacy. So for example, like if you have multiple of those and you're hiding behind an ensnaring bridge or something like that, like that's a super cute idea, and I kind of like it. I really liked the sideboard options that I have. Maybe you need some more spot removal or something, but like this is a great starting point for if you want to play Nic Fit. This one gets a huge thumbs up from me. Anyway, folks, I hope you enjoy. If you did, please click the like button on your way out. If you're new here and you made it to this point in the video, please consider subscribing. You know, you're gonna see all sorts of sweet meme content all the time. Have a great rest of the day, and if you end up wanting to try this one out or get one of your decks on the channel, that information's in the video description. See ya!